सत्यं परं धीमहि। ॐ सत्यं परं धीमहि। ॐ सत्यं परं धीमहि। ॐ सत्यं परं धीमहि। ॐ सत्यं परं धीमहि।
હે નાથ, ઓ લોર્ડ, ઓ માસ્ટર, જ્યારે પશુને ચરાવતા તમે વ્રજમાંથી ચાલો છો. When you leave the cowherd village to graze the cows, ચલસી યત વ્રજત ચારયન પશુ. તમારા નલીન સુંદર પગ, તમારા કમલ જેવા સુંદર પગ, નલીન સુંદર તે પદમ. Your feet that are more beautiful than a lotus. શીલ તૃણ અંકુર. શીલ એટલે પથ્થર, તૃણ એટલે ઘાસ, અંકુર એટલે છુપાયેલો કાંટો, થી બેસી જાય છે. સિદતી ઇતિ. શીલ તૃણ અંકુર સિદતી ઇતિ. Will be pricked by the spiked husks of grain and the rough grass and plants. हे कांत, नह मनः कलिलतम गच्छति. અમારું મન કલિલતામાં જાય છે. Our minds are disturbed. ચલસી યદ વ્રજત ચારયન પશુ. ચારયન. Chalasi we saw last time, the wheel of life, that which changes every moment. Have we been able to establish 2 points in our life? One which changes all the time, and one which never changes, the observer inside, the witness inside. These 2 points of reference we should try to hold it whenever we can. I won't say all the time, whenever we can. So, charayan pashu, you make the cows graze. Pashun, to see, pashya. There is a conscious effort, charayan, pashun, there is a conscious effort in the act of seeing. In the act of seeing. Drashya juvama, in the act of seeing, એક પ્રયાસ છે, ખાલી ઓટોમેટિક નથી ચાલતું. એક અંદરનો કોન્શિયસ સાવધાનીથી ભરેલો પ્રયાસ છે. When do we start this conscious effort? When do we start this conscious effort? At present we are sitting here. If we are making an effort to fight against daydreaming, we are making conscious effort. But if we are not making that fight and we are drifting, then we are in mechanical effort. We are not in conscious effort. So conscious effort is every moment. It is that fight against the sleep of life, the fight against the hypnosis of life. So Patanjali calls it as yatna. Tatra sthito yatna abhyas. Patanjali goes very logically. Yoga chitta vritti nirod tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam vritti sarupyam itaratra. Then he talks about the vrittis. And then he says how to achieve that state of yoga. So he says abhyasa vairagya abhyam tan nirod. That nirod, yoga chitta vritti nirod, that nirod, how do you achieve it? Through abhyas and vairagya. Abhyas and vairagya abhyam tan nirod. Then he says, what is abhyas? Tatra sthito, for that state, tatra sthito, yatna the yatna, the effort done is abhyas. For that state, the effort done is abhyas. So for that state, at this moment, if we are making effort, we are in yatna. Yatna, the prayatna, yatna, the prayatna. So there are two kinds of efforts: conscious effort and mechanical effort. Life effort and sadhana effort, work effort. That which life makes us do is mechanical effort. Whatever we do for life, we do not need to do conscious effort. Conscious effort karwani jarur nathi. There is no need at present to fight against daydreaming and brooding. There is absolutely no need. Our lives will go on just the way they go on. Nothing will change in our life. So there is absolutely there is no necessity to make conscious effort. Conscious effort is a luxury. It is done above the effort of life. So if it is cold, I wear a coat or I wear a sweater. But this is mechanical effort. It has nothing to do with my sadhana. If it is raining, I take out an umbrella. So whatever we do in life is just mechanical effort. Mechanical effort we adapt to every situation in life. Life does not ask us to do conscious effort. Life asks us to do only mechanical effort. We earn our money, we go to our job, we do our profession, we run our business, we look after the family. All this is mechanical effort. It has nothing to do with the sadhana. And a person can get so immersed in life, he forgets. All of us have forgotten why we have come. What was the reason for the soul to take birth? Why did the soul come? What was his aim in taking a birth? That aim we have forgotten. Because we are so immersed in our life. People say, I don't have time. They don't have time. Recently, the Prime Minister of England was in India, and by chance I happened to meet one of the members of his people's delegation. He's a minister just now, Indian minister in the British cabinet. So I said, I'll be lecturing at this time. So he said, please do send me a mail that you're coming to England. So I said, see if you can come for one of the talks. I know you're very busy. So he said, no, but Parliament gets over at 11 o'clock in the night. It continues till 11 o'clock in the... So, a person who is immersed in life, he forgets why he has come. Why he has come. And we may be very, very successful in life. But that does not mean we are making conscious efforts. We may be very famous, we may be very successful, but that does not mean we are making conscious efforts. Conscious effort is a totally different thing. It has nothing to do with what we are doing in life. I may be doing something very artistic. I may be doing something very creative. I may be a famous musician. But all this is still mechanical effort. It has nothing to do with sadhana. Even though to achieve so much in music, you have to put in hours and hours of abhyas. Conscious effort does not come from a life influence. The other day we talked about 3 kinds of influences. A influence, B influence and C influence. Life influences are A influences. It does not come from them. It does not come from the friction of life. It does not come from the struggles of life, the ambitions, the jealousies, the hatreds, the wars, the crimes, the commerce, the economics, the interests, the laws. It has nothing to do with conscious effort. All this is mechanical effort, and it is all A influence. A influence. It does not have a conscious origin. All these influences don't have a conscious origin. Conscious effort has an origin in some other part of man's destiny. Man has two destinies. Manushani be niyati che. One of his personality and one of his essence. If I become very famous or very successful, I have fulfilled the destiny of my personality. But the destiny of my essence may still be a seed. એ હજી બીજના જ રૂપમાં હોઈ શકે. એમાં સેજ પણ કંઈ પણ અંકુરિત પણ નહીં થયું હોય. The seed needs a different kind of light and heat. It does not need the light and heat of the sun. It is our inner destiny. And have we walked on that destiny? तो આ બે નિયતિ છે આપણું. એક જીવની, એક અહમની. અહમની નિયતિ તો પૂરી થાય છે. જીવ બિચારું બીજનું બીજ જ રહી જાય છે. જન્મતી વખતે બીજ, મરતી વખતે બીજ. કંઈ ફરક જ ન પડ્યો. And with everything, because everything which we do goes into the personality. So it needs the light of consciousness and the heat of tapa. It needs these two things. All our sadhana is about life, to be in life. It does not mean we run away from life. We don't run away from our personality. The minute we run away from our personality, we are creating something totally new. We use life. We use every situation in life. प्राणी मात्र साधक है और हर परिस्थिति साधना है. Every human being is a seeker, and every moment in life, every situation in life, every event in life is an opportunity to seek. So we get everything, all the raw material we want for the fulfillment of the destiny of the essence we get from life. And at the same time we don't run away from our duties in life. We fulfill all our duties in life. It is just an effort to wake up from sleep. Conscious effort. See, if I may say I am controlling negative emotions. But why am I controlling negative emotions? Maybe because I am talking to my boss, then I can't get angry. Or maybe because I feel that I'll be made a fool in front of everybody if I get angry over here. Or I have a reputation, or I have an image. So, in all this I may be trying to suppress negative emotions, trying to consciously work on negative emotions. But if the aim is wrong, it is still a life effort, it is not a conscious effort. Why am I doing it? Karvama maro lakshya su che? What is my aim? And unless my aim is for consciousness, the effort turns out to be mechanical. So we have two paths, a mechanical part and a conscious part. My guru used to call it the attachment center and the detachment center. And thus now the attachment center is very, very powerful. The mechanical part is we just get carried away. It just carries us away. Now all aim must be an intelligent aim. To live life in its normal way without changing anything in our lives. We don't have to go on a holiday to do sadhana. Wherever we are, it starts from there. Then we have to use our intelligence. We have to find a sly way to live our life at the same time and still wake up at the same time. Both destinies be fulfilled together. And this needs an inner different kind of intelligence, a sly way of approaching life. And that is why in the whole of the Mahabharata, Krishna is shown as the sly man. The sly man. He does not run away from any situation, but he finds a sly way out of every situation. And every situation has one path in it which leads to a higher state of consciousness. We have to find that path. So every event in life has so many paths leading out of that event. We have to find that one path which takes us one step ahead. And that is the sly way. And that makes us a good householder. We are not good householders. We are not good householders. We feel we are good householders. We are not good householders. In the morning we've quarreled with the husband, then we've got angry on the children, we have done this. And we are so engrossed in something, we tell, hey, don't disturb me just now. Can't you see I'm engrossed in this? And all these are small situations in which we have to look at it from a sly way and find a way out of it. And again we look at it in a sly way and again we start. And once we get the knack of doing it, once we get the art of stealing consciousness from each situation in life, not complaining, stealing consciousness from each situation in life, then at one point you will start enjoying it. Maybe those who steal from people's houses, maybe they enjoy it more than... Right? So we start enjoying it, stealing consciousness from each moment in life. જીવનના એક એક ક્ષણમાંથી જાગૃતિની ચોરી કરવા. મારું નામ માખણ ચોર. Steal it. But for that there must be an understanding. There must be an understanding. Second thing, the effort which we make inside must have our consent. There must be an inner consent. I am doing this out of my own inner consent. I am saying yes to it. I want to get angry on him, but I can't get angry on him because I lose my job. So there is no inner consent to that, stopping of the negativity. There must be an inner consent, and that inner consent can only come from understanding. Something in yes may say, nay, yes, this is the path I want to take. This path is pulling me, but yes, I want to walk on this path. Marge mare chalu che. We must work on those sides of ourselves which are underdeveloped, undeveloped. And for that, a lot of inner observation is needed. I remember one camp where it was in one Jain center, and there was this Mahasatiji she had a big following of disciples, and she had written 2 books, Hu Atma Chu, 2 books she had written. And she invited me to take one camp in her center. And in the evenings we used to sit and just talk. And the first question she asked is ke khabar કેમ પડે કે આપણો માર્ગ જ્ઞાનનો છે કે ભક્તિનો છે? That was, how do I know that my path is of knowledge or the path is of love? I said, because you asked the question, તમે પ્રશ્ન પૂછ્યો એટલે ભક્તિનો તો નથી જ. You can't love from here. You can't love from here. It's not possible. But after a long period of understanding, of observation inside, inner observation, we come to a state where we see our hearts are dry. We think about love, we don't love. Now we have to work on the heart center, we have to work on the emotional center. But the emotional center is full of negative emotion. But this will come only after a long period of observation. And We cannot be lazy. There are people who come and tell me that no, I will reach only through thought. Vedanta says reach only through thought. I'll reach only through thought. They don't understand this is a harmonic development of the human being. There must be harmony. You can't have a one-sided development. Not only that, there are my Guru Bhais who tell me, okay, why are you doing all this talking? We just practice the rhythmic breathing, everything else will happen on its own. Now this is another form of laziness. They don't want to understand what they are doing. People come and say, हाँ वो भजन गाया करिस मारे बीजों पे समझवानी जरूर नहीं. This is intellectual laziness. There cannot be harmonious development. And they keep on singing bhajans. There are 7 kinds of men. 7 kinds of men. The first is one who wants to do something all the time. His center of gravity is in the moving center. એ બેસી જ ન શકે. એને આખો દિવસ કંઈ ને કંઈ કર્યા જ કરવું પડે. એને ચેન ન પડે. અને બીજો બેઠો હોય તો એને you can't stand the sight of somebody sitting and relaxing. There was this fisherman, and he was lying on the beach next to his boat and he was smoking a pipe. So one great industrialist was walking or taking a walk on the beach and he said, "What are you doing?" So he said, "I'm just enjoying the sunset." He said, what do you do? He said, "I fish in this boat." But he said, "You must be out fishing. You should not be sitting over here." So he said, "What do I do if I go out fishing?" "You catch more fish. If you catch more fish, then what do? Then you buy another boat. And then you catch more fish. And then you make a factory to make more fish." And then he says, "After all that, what should I do?" Then he says, "You relax and enjoy life." So what do you think I'm doing now? We have to keep on doing. Somebody has to keep on doing. They can't sit. So this is man number 1, Gurdjieff calls it as. Man number 1. A person whose center of gravity is in the moving center. He keeps on doing. The second person, the center of gravity is in the emotional center. They want to feed people all the time. They want to look after people. They are very good social workers. They'll be in the hospitals. They'll be all over the place. They'll be looking after the patients. The center of gravity is in the emotional center. Third is the thinking person. He thinks all the time. Everything is thought in life. And sometimes I dread it when I have to go and lecture in some Vedantic institution. What they have made of Vedanta, I don't know. The darshan, the art of seeing, they have made it into the art of thinking. Seeing is forgotten. We keep on thinking all the time. And Gurdjieff says all these 3 are the same level in life. Don't think the thinking person is higher than the emotional. And then he says that man number 4 is the one who wants to do the right thing. When the heart has to be used, he uses the heart. He doesn't use the head. When the moving center has to be used, he tries to now consciously use each action out of which center should be used. The thinking is done by the mind, the execution is done by the heart. And it takes a long time because everything in us is in a mess, in a chaos. Where we are supposed to think, we are feeling, and where we are supposed to feel, we think. And the moving center has become a victim of the thinking center. How many push-ups did you do? How many cycles did you run? How many calories did you burn? How many this did you do? The whole joy of the moving center has become a victim of the thinking center. Everything is thought out. how much of running you should do, how much of this you should do. So all the centers, the three main centers in a human being are in disarray. And it is man number 4 who comes and he says that, okay, I want to now do the right thing. For this, he awakens, he separates from himself. It can only be done by separation from self. So there is a slight separation. And he tries to give each center to do its own job, he delegates to each center its job. There's some conscious effort, it's not happening mechanically. And then a point comes where there is harmony in a person. There is something behind which is watching all the time. It is now 24 hours, and that he calls as man number 5. He said, this is a crystallized human being. Such a person will still be watching when the physical body dies. The watching will not stop. It will still continue in some other dimension. Something has changed in this person. Now, music is coming out. Everything has come into rhythm and balance. That is why the rhythmic breathing gives us a foundation for our sadhana. It puts us on a pedestal from where to work becomes very easy. Like you want to sit down to play music, but first you have to tune the strings of the tanpura or the sitar. You have to tune the strings. This rhythmic breathing tunes up things within us. Then we are ready. Then music will come out. Just now we sing, music does not come out. Music. Then with the children it is music. With the husband it is music. With the boss it is music. There is joy in stringing each center, bringing music out of the moving center, the heart center, the thinking center. So, that is man number 5. Then man number 6. What is the source through which all this is happening? Now he is moving to that source. He says, all this is happening because of something deep inside of me. And he says, this real I which I have, the light of the real I comes from some other I inside, some other sun inside, and he moves to that. And man number 7 is the one who realizes. For him there is no coming back. These different gradations of man Gurdjieff has given, and they're very, very interesting because we feel, oh, he's living from the heart, he's living from the... But he puts these first 3 as all in the same level. And the one... And we can work from any of the centers. In the old days it was allowed, but now the brain has changed. The human... There must be a harmonic development, harmonious development. One-sided development will not do. In the old days, the fakirs, the Hatha yogis would go only through the moving center. The bhakti yogis would go through the heart center. The Raj yogis would go through the thinking center. But now, we can't escape from life. Now life is the medium. What we are doing in life is the medium. So we have to be a Hatha yogi, a bhakti yogi and a Raj yogi at the same time. And that is why we are Jivan yogis. At the same time. Where the moving center is needed, we use the moving center. Where the thinking center is needed, we use the thinking center. It's going to be a new man who's now the development is harmonious. We have to forget the old completely. And that is why sometimes I imagine, of spirituality as just being a course in a university. Forget the religions. Just a course in a university. You just apply for it and you study it from all directions and you move on the path. Because religions are now responsible for more division than bringing people together. So this understanding that why I am doing this, what do I have to do, which path am I moving on, what is the science of the path, and what are my undeveloped science, and how do I develop those develop size. So I become a harmonious human being. Most of us feel there is no need to make any effort more than our daily routine. Then nothing is possible. Just this daily routine is mechanical effort. No time. No time. I don't have time. You know how time moves. That time, समय આપણને બહુ છે. We think 1 hour of childhood is equal to 1 hour of old age. We think it is the same because 1 hour is 1 hour. 1 hour equals to 60 minutes and 60 minutes equal to 60 seconds. એટલે આપણને એમ કે બધું સરખું જ છે. બાળપણનો 1 કલાક અને બુઢાપણનો 1 કલાક. But in 1 hour in our young age we can do so much. In 1 hour in our old age we can only do so much. Time is cheating us. Each moment time is cheating us.
Do you think at some point regarding religion that there'll come a time when there's no religion whatsoever because of the way religion is dividing?
I think there will not no religion, there will be real religion. Religion where you can study any path. See, every religion has its own beauty, no? Has its own beauty. So, it's open to you. By birth, you're not a part of any religion. You can study whichever path you want. If you want to study all of them, you can study all of them.
How would you, with kids, like I have kids, so how would I then advise my children on how, because for them life is very confusing. They see, it's very cosmopolitan life at the moment for them, which is something we don't understand because we didn't come from that era. How, as a parent, how would I say, okay, now you can follow or you can, because like you said, every religion has its beauty. How does one advise a child?
See, let's put it the other way. Let's look at it from the other side. That nothing is a coincidence in life. The child is born in a Hindu home. So that's not a coincidence. Right? Okay. Now, there are 3 types of sanskars. There is the natural sanskar, which nature gives. Right? I talked about it last year when we talked about death. What nature gives. That is the sanskars of the 5 tattvas. Then there is a racial sanskar. You see? So there is a racial sanskar. In that comes caste, religion. So in every child, because he is born in a certain home, there is a seed of that religion. There is a seed of that religion. Now, so we have to allow that to develop. Now, in that we start teaching the child the reason behind doing ritual or whatever, because say the Hindu religion will mean a lot of ritual. The Christian religion will not mean so much of ritual, but still there are rituals there, a lot of ritual. Right? So we teach him the why behind each ritual. The why. What is the science of vibrations? What is the science of matter? What happens when vibrations and matter get together? How these rituals and the saying of certain things gives rise to certain vibrations? It induces certain matter. It induces certain form. All this has to be taught to the child. And when they're young, you teach them through stories. And when they are older, you teach them in a different way. And slowly, as the eyes open, he will start seeing the same thing in other religions also. In the end, they all want to go to truth. Right? So, they can't talk of something which is against truth. They have to talk of what is, only the language is different, the customs were different, the people were different. The situation in which it came was different. Right? So, in ours it may be in a different kind of stories. In the Bible it may be in the form of parables. In the end, the science is hidden. The science which is hidden is not going to change for anyone. If he learns to see the science, then he will see it everywhere. But if he becomes dogmatic about the ritual, then that's the end. When religion dies, it becomes a ritual. You get it? Then he'll see the truth everywhere. In everything he'll see the truth. Like, I love to read many things from the Bible. Not because there's some things about Jesus which are not very easy. You see, like our gods are always there. Ram, Krishna, then. But here's a person who can get angry. Here's a person who can whip the Pharisees. You know, he's an ordinary human being like you and me. You get it? And when we go into the science of the miracles, how they all are parables of transforming something lower into higher, then suddenly the same truth opens up. No? The same truth opens up. So truth cannot change. If the truth is different for somebody, it cannot be truth. It can be my personal truth. So being born in a Hindu home does give us a responsibility to open him up first to the Hindu this thing, but not in a way that it becomes dogmatic. Karuj per se, not that, not dogmatic. Right? In a way which induces his mind to question, to ask, to. And then slowly he then starts seeing the truth everywhere. And now it is so easy. I mean, you can study any religion you want. When we were young, it was difficult. It was difficult. Now it's so easy to study any religion you want. So that is the way I would put it. That religions will not die, but they'll become more open. The truth in them will remain. Truth cannot die. Chalasi yad vrajata charayan pashul. Now this word pashul, pashya, to see, to take in an impression, to see. Now the body-brain system is a 3-storied building. Thinking, feeling, sensing. And this gives us 3 kinds of foods: physical food, air food, and impression food. Three foods. Right? So each story takes a different food, and out of that it makes different products. We'll just go into the products, what it makes. So he's used the word here, pashun, from the word pas, to bind. To bind the. Now here we'll have bind in 2 places. Pashun, pas, to bind, and again in the word nalin. Nal means to bind. So that which is bound, it comes from the root to see, drasha. And last time we saw to see a visheshan, to see that something which is special, that is the chief weakness within us, which we took in the last talk. Sarvam visheshan pashyati. But what is this to see? What does it mean to see? Now let us try to understand that if we don't get ordinary food, the physical food, maybe we live for a few weeks, or there's some people who live for months or whatever, right? If we don't get air food, we may live for 5 minutes or 7 minutes or whatever. But if we don't get impression food, we cannot live for a single second. There must be some impression coming to the brain all the time. Even in the highest states of samadhi, the yogi keeps on circulating his own impression. Otherwise the brain will stop working. So whenever we are waking or sleeping, we are still getting impressions. In the end, in sleep, supposing in sleep we imagine that the thinking does not stop in sleep. From 120 thoughts, it comes down to 60 thoughts per second. But even in sleep, we are still thinking at a rate of 60 thoughts per second. But supposing we say that in sleep there are no thoughts, we are still getting impressions of hot, cold, comfort. We feel the pillow is out of order or this. So some impressions are still coming to the brain. From the muscles, from the heart. Now, why do we give it the name food? Why do we call it food? It is a food, real food in the sense of food, eating food. It is a food. Supposing a man is in love, right? And he doesn't hear from his lover for many days. He doesn't know where she has gone. He tries everywhere, can't. And then he falls down in a faint. He falls down, beban figure. Right? So the doctors take him to the hospital and they put a drip and they do all kinds of things. But they can't wake him up. He's so much deeply in love. Right? And then in the old days we would say he got a telegram. And I'm coming. And the doctors read this telegram to him. And what the drips could not do and the injections could not do, he suddenly gets up from the bed. It's an impression. Impression is food. It is a kind of food. Of course, knowing today's doctors, they would take the telegram and, take it to a laboratory and take it apart. What happened, what was there in this telegram that it worked. Analyze it. Maybe they would start, all patients who are asleep in the hospital, send them love telegrams. You see, what impressions are we taking throughout the day? What impressions are we taking? The quality of the impression. Because we are taking in impressions mechanically. We are not changing the impression when it goes in. We are not changing, it's just happening so mechanically. Right? And which is the biggest source of impressions today? TV. The biggest source of impressions is TV.
Imagine that when somebody's brain dead, that means that's when the impressions come to them.
The moving center is not totally dead. The instinctive center and the moving. So there are impressions of instinctive and moving center. And I have made this mistake. When I was with Ram Dulare Bapu, we went all over India in 1980. And at that time, we went for the first time, I visited the Ramakrishna mission with him in Calcutta. Belur Math. Now, at that time, when we went there, there was one Swami. He was the last living disciple of Swami Vivekananda. So I think his name was Swami Vireshwaran, something, I don't remember his name. And he was in a coma, so they would put him in a wheelchair. He doesn't know anything. He's in a coma. And people would come and bow down, And so, at that time I was still seeking, I'm talking about. I was saying that this guy is in a wheelchair. What sadhana has he done? He's in coma. If at the point of death you're going to go into coma, then what kind of sadhana have you done? So why should I bow down to him? But then of course I saw my guru was bowing down to him, so I also, not from inside. Then of course Ram Dulare Bapu left in 82, and a few years ago, I think about 8 or 10 years ago, we were studying the Brahma Sutras. And one of the books on the Brahma Sutras, when I was looking at it, it was by Swami Vireshwara. And I was going through the book, and suddenly I realized, oh, what a mistake I made. I had physical darshan of this person. A person who has not experienced cannot write this book. It was such a shock. It was such a shock. So then it came, we practiced dream yoga. Supposing one side of the brain is dead, then what has consciousness to do with the brain? It is just the observer of the brain. The brain is dead. It is observing it. You get what I'm trying to say? And I realized my mistake, that what a big mistake I did at that time. That I was in touch with, I could have felt but my ego stopped me from, I was physically with that person, but psychologically I must have been miles away. I missed that opportunity. So, it is possible because the Atma only sees, it does not do. It only sees. Now, if I'm in good health, it sees I'm in good health. If I'm in bad health, it sees I'm in bad health. It is only the seer. But it took years of understanding to come to this. So, what is an impression? What is an impression? Can we understand? Are you the impression or is the impression inside? This is the basic question. If you are the impression, I can't do anything with it. If the impression is inside, then I can do everything with it. This, all sadhana starts from here.
How do you know if the impression is on the outside or inside? How?
Can I change it? Can I change it?
How do you know whether it's outside or inside?
Coming to that. So if the food of impression is just the horror of TV, it's going to make us ill. So spend some time in the garden or something. Don't sit on the TV the whole 24 hours or something. Now, a point is going to come where medical science is going to say, and it is saying it already, that you have this disease because you had a narrow mind. You're holding one impression, one thought in the mind for too long, and that has released some poisons. Or you've got this disease because you've got a prejudiced mind. Or you've been too jealous, that's why you've got this disease. Right? So, it's going to come in the near future. Many people have been writing about it. My guru has also given a whole list of ailments and their causes, which he calls the intensity charts, and the intensity of the emotions he has given in that. But the impression is inside because like and dislike is inside. If I have gone for the races and I have bought a ticket on the winning horse, then that impression is different from if I bought it on the losing horse. There's a label of like and dislike inside. Now, air is also a food. I know because I stay on a farm and I don't use any pesticides. but my neighbor does. And whenever he's spraying his field, I always get a headache. So there is a food. There is a food. Now, whether we see a person outside, all impressions are inside. This is what yoga calls as pratyay. Pratyay. And before I go, we'll take a beautiful sequence from the Yoga Sutra where Patanjali is talking about pratyay. Where the pratyay is born and the pratyay dies, and finding the gap in between. We'll go through that sequence in the Yoga Sutra. I think in May we'll go through that. So Patanjali has given it a name. Andar je pratiti thai. The impression that we had inside. She can be the same, but I can have a different impression every time. Today it may be friendliness, tomorrow it may be enmity. You get what I'm trying to say? The impression is inside. What impression happened inside? Can I change that impression? Can I push that impression through consciousness on a certain journey? Then it becomes a food. It becomes a food. And it is a packet of energies. Like the quanta is a packet of energies, and we can extract higher energies from that, but we don't do it. Now just think of what science is saying. That light enters into the eye as an image. From the image, rays of light are going through the eye. And they fall on a plate called the retina. Where the image I am looking at of her is upside down. Just imagine the person you love is upside down inside. And there are 7 million nerves over there which are taking these images, making parts of these images into nervous impulses. They are translating them into nervous impulses. Some are going to the back of the brain and some are going to the right brain, and they are all combining to give us an image of what we are seeing outside. Can you imagine the amount of work which is going in? It is as if I am looking at her, but she's 100 miles away from me. All this work is going on inside. And this is what science is saying. The rishis have taught the same things before they had any microscope. They said, you see the image is broken down into parts called tanmatra. And those tanmatra are recreated inside to create an image. So the rishis are talking the same language. So what is inside goes through a process of recreation. Now, in all of us, there is a whole web, ek akho madku hai, web of wiring. Web of wiring. This is called associations. We have not yet talked about it. One day we are going to talk about it. What are associations? It is like when we go into our mind, there is a whole sea of memory, a river of memory, and that river of memory is flowing at full speed every second. I see you, I see the red color, and it rings 20 different telephones inside. Right? I remember I have to buy red chilies from the market. One telephone rung. Second is that I have a red sweater with a hole inside it. Second telephone rung. Like that 20 telephones ring by just that one impression. So that impression, it does not fall on a clean slate. It falls on a web of associations. Every impression falls on a web of associations. Can we be free of these associations? See how we have to work with that one pratyay coming inside. That one impression coming inside. And these associations are all memory. It could be anything. You could have I could be meeting you after 20 years, but after 20 years, the first thing I remember about you is that you were cursing me 20 years ago. Right? The association. I'm not looking at you. You get it? I'm not looking at... Yes, sir.
These impressions that are formed by seeing, what happens in a blind person who's born blind?
No, I'm talking of all the five senses. All the five senses. I'm not talking just about seeing. This is just an example.
So that person will form impressions without the sight, but with the other senses.
And have you worked with blind people? One of the things which no one realizes is that they must be taken out of self-pity. Because the minute is, I am blind, I cannot see. And this brings their consciousness down. So the first thing you have to do with working with blind people is you have to tell them that, teach them how to accept this and not to ever invite people's, sympathy through being blind. Because I had a blind music teacher. And he was a very good music teacher. But when it comes to life, right? So that impression inside, he's taking the same impression and it's going in mechanically. If we could see a person without this whole web of association, all these telephone lines ringing, then the impression would fall on our essence. It is because of this web that the impression, jeev ne pohchtu nathi, because this whole web of associations is in between. Old pathways. We see a person, even before we can do anything, we like or dislike the person. So I am not seeing you, I am seeing the impression of you. These are two different things. And because the impression is internal, it is within me, it is my choice whether I want to work on it or don't want to work on it. We are not working on external life. We are not working on we are working on something within us. So, in this it will become clear that we cannot change anyone, we cannot transform anyone. But the impression of that person which has come in can be transformed into something higher, something much different. For this we need a certain psychological transformation, a certain conscious effort. Now just see ordinary food. It comes from the fields. But we don't eat it just in the field. We have to wash it. Or it goes through a process of going through the crusher. And the grains come out. Then we take the stones out. It has to be cleaned. The vegetables are clean. They are cut. Then everything is cooked. It is all prepared. And then we eat it. If I was to bring it with the mud and just put it on your plate, call you for lunch, right, and put it on your plate. But that is what we do with these impressions. We don't do anything with it. And it has come in as raw food. It has come in from the farm. And it has to go through a process of cleaning inside. And in that cleaning we are transformed. We clean it. We purify it, we cut it up, we cook it, and then we eat it. And we digest higher energies from it. So, can we create within us a new transforming agency for impressions? What happens in a negative emotion? What happens in a reaction? What happens? This impression has come in. What happens in a negative emotion, in a reaction? What happens? Supposing I'm depressed, or I'm angry, or I'm in a heavy mood, or something, I'm negative. What is happening to that impression? I am throwing it out in a reaction. I am throwing it out. There is no inner process going on. Somebody has brought me food, but I am saying, oh, this food is useless, take it away. This food is useless, take it away. And I don't make that effort of cleaning the food, processing it and eating it.
I feel like in a day or in a moment, there's so many impressions that come in. How can you clean it and digest it?
That is why we have to observe the web of associations. And in that observation of the associations, they calm down. And then it goes one step further. One step further. But before that, before we can even see the associations, is freedom from negativity. Because till we are negative, we are still just throwing it outside. So there is a process of digestion of impressions. So now we understand why being negative is our fault. Sukam apro વાંક છે. Because we have lost something precious. A very high quality food which came in, we vomited it out. It is our fault. We have lost it. It doesn't matter in what form it came. We could have cleaned it. We could have cleaned it. Some fields have wet mud on it. So the vegetables are going to come with piles and piles of mud. That doesn't mean we throw it away. And life is continuously causing us to react. Now I'm going to just go through this thing of food, so it will become a little more clear. The food we eat from the mouth, it goes into the stomach, right? In the stomach we call it as chyle. And from the stomach it goes into the intestines where there are blood vessels, and they take that food. The first thing they extract from that food is magnetism. Now the food goes further, meets so we breathe in, the air goes into the blood vessels, and those blood vessels carrying air, they meet the food blood vessels in the liver, and they both continue their journey from the liver. So food goes in, magnetism, then the next thing taken out of the food is motor electricity. The next thing taken out of food is reflex electricity. So food goes into the brain, motor electricity, all my conscious functions. I lift my hand, all the conscious functions are motor electricity. All my thoughts are motor electricity, right? Then it goes further in the brain, reflex electricity. All my reactions are reflex electricity, emotions. If I eat food, the stomach puts in hydrochloric acid to digest the food. Is it a reflex action or is it a motor action? Which one? Which one? Do I have to think so many ounces of... It is automatic. All the body functions, instinctive functions of the body are automatic. I don't have to think, you so much of hydrochloric acid, pour it inside. No, it happens automatically. Of course, some people suffer from acidity, that's different. Right? But it happens automatically. Right? And the final product of food is sex energy. This much is guaranteed by nature. This much is Guaranteed by nature. Nature does not guarantee anything more than this. Now the air which comes in, which we are breathing, the air. So the first thing the blood will extract from the air is right. Second thing it will extract is and here nature stops. Nature does not go beyond this. Normal man, these are all the energies. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 energies which normal man extracts from his food and from his breathing. Now what can we, now we'll go further, but before that, what can we say from this? What can we say from this? What is the difference between this magnetism and this magnetism?
The A1 is at a high frequency.
High frequency. Why?
Because it's less dense.
Less dense.
Yeah.
Can you put it in another way? You're right, absolutely right. Why is it at a higher frequency? Why is it less dense? Because air is subtle than food.
Yeah.
So to come to this, it has to go through less steps. It has to go through less steps. Food will have to go through a longer processing then. So here the magnetism is a little older in age. This one is younger in age. So the quality of this magnetism which comes from air will be of a very different quality than the one we get from food. Right? It will give us the power of holding a thought, it will give us the power of holding a secret, right? Inside. That is the one which comes from air magnetism. What will be the difference between this and this?
What's the second one?
Motor electricity. Motor electricity.
Motor electricity will move faster. But the A1.
No thoughts. That's why I underline thoughts.
Oh, okay.
The quality of thoughts will be much better.
Yeah.
Much better. All our aesthetic thinking will come from this motor electricity. All our aesthetic thinking will come from this motor electricity, not from this one. Right? If I am just living in my instinctive center like many of the old tribes were, then many of my rituals will be very animalistic rituals. There will be no aesthetic sense in those rituals. Okay? There may be a lot of power in the rituals, but this gives us a sort of aesthetic sense in life, a higher thinking. The thought for today, which comes in all the newspapers, is through this motor electricity, not this motor. What else? Because nature stops over here, what else does it tell us? What else does it tell us? Because nature stops over here, what else does it tell us? That we cannot have refined all our emotions are from food. We don't get any emotions from air. We don't get any emotions from air. Now, if we can push this air a little further, give it a push. Dhakko jo mari sake hawa ne. How do we do that? By practicing the 3-step rhythmic breathing. We push air further, we get reflex electricity. Now these emotions will be of a different quality. They will not be negative. They will not be negative. They will be of a different. That is why the breathing is so important. Now, this is an energy not guaranteed by nature. It is something which we have done through conscious effort. It is not guaranteed by nature. Right? This is a very different energy. If we have this energy, we can do bhakti. If we don't have this energy, with this we cannot do bhakti. All our bhakti is just imagination. That is why we need this energy to do bhakti. That is why it's very, I said this is the foundation. If we are breathing in rhythm, everything changes automatically. Then it moves further and we get sex energy. What is the difference between this sex energy and this sex energy? This is a victim of this sex energy is in, it can get excited by anything. A new movie, a new this, a new car, a new anything can excite this. Sex energy, I don't mean just the sex act. Law of attraction and repulsion. Law of attraction and repulsion. Anything can excite this. This sex energy cannot be easily excited. It is a very calm and very peaceful energy. It brings a lot of peace in life. Nothing can excite it. It cannot fall in love. This one falls in love. This one rises in love. It does not fall in love, it rises in love. Right? It's a different energy. And it guarantees one more energy over here, death energy. This is one extra energy. So, if we are practicing this, then we get 1, 2, 3 energies which are extra, which are not a part of nature. Nature does not guarantee these energies. Right? Is this clear? Right? Okay. Now, the impression. The impression. Now the impression comes in at what level? Out of all those energies, motor, reflex, sex, death. Which level does it come in? Motor. It is a thought. Huh? It is a thought. It comes in at the level of motor. It stops over here. Nature does not guarantee anything. Nature does not guarantee anything. It comes in as motor electricity, I throw it out as reflex electricity, and that's the end of the matter. I convert it into a lower quality of reflex electricity and throw it out. Nothing is done over here. Now, if I can consciously work on that impression which I have taken inside, if I consciously work on that impression, I get a new reflex electricity. So I got 3 energies from air, 4, and 1 more sex energy. Five energies I got. 5 energies. Reflex from air, reflex, sex, death. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 energies, mechanical life does not guarantee these energies. It is only through conscious effort that the yogi gets these energies. These are different kinds of energies. Now, supposing we take one sloka of the Gita. Dhyayate vishayan punsaha. man's attention goes to the sense objects. Man's attention goes to the sense. Vishayo upar manasno dhyan jai che. Dhyayate vishayan punsa. Sanghaste shupa jayate. So the first thing which happens is sangha. મારું ધ્યાન ખેંચાઈ ગયું સંગ થઈ ગયું સંઘાત સજાયતે કામા કામાત ક્રોધો વિજાયતે ક્રોધાત ભવતિ सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रम स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धि नाश. Right? So we will say okay, I forget myself or behoshi, what do you call sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that one slok, Krishna is not talking about this. He is talking about this. In that one slok, he is showing you the secret of how to transform this into this. This is the very, very deeper reading of the Gita. You won't find this anywhere. In no book you are going to find it. I have not seen anyone else who teaches it also. It's just come to me from some source. Right? So, you get it? These 5 energies he's talking about. 5 energies in life. So, just by doing the rhythmic breathing we get 3, and if we start working on impression. So, he's saying, he's going in Vraja to graze the cows, but the word uses pashun. Pashun means pashya, to see, to take in an impression, and to take in an impression in a way that we digest it inside and we extract these energies. Just imagine at the moment of death, if we have that amount of death energy, what kind of death it will be. It will be a totally different death. And if we are controlling the sex energies when we want to take birth, it will be in our hands. This is totally different. Death is then every moment. Every moment. I can die this moment. You tell me something, I feel hurt. That very moment I surrender to it. There's death in this moment. So every moment there can be Sharanagati, death. That death energy is the surrender of life. These energies come out of this. I just wanted to... We've not finished the slok, you know. Chalasi yad rajat charayan pasun nalina sundar te padam Shilatruna ankur sidati iti. Your beautiful lotus feet. Now we'll have to see Krishna's beautiful lotus feet tomorrow, and what hurts those beautiful lotus feet of Krishna. We'll keep that till tomorrow. We'll stop over here. I think we'll go very late today. Anyway, thank you. Jai Shri Krishna. I'll just finish this slok and then we'll keep some questions because I don't want to take a new slok today. Hey Nath, O Master, જ્યારે પશુને ચરાવતા તમે વ્રજમાંથી ચાલો છો, ચલસી યદ વ્રજત ચારયન પશુ. When you leave the cowherd village to graze the cows, Nalina Sundar te padam, Tamara Nalin Sundar Pad. Your feet more beautiful than any lotus. Sheen Sheela Truna Ankur, thi besi jai chhe. Sheela Truna Ankur Siddhati Iti will be pierced by the spiked husks of grain and the rough grass and plants. Naha mana kaliltam gachati. Amaru man kalilta ma jai chhe. Our minds are disturbed. So yesterday we saw the meaning of the word Pashun, the normal meaning being cows, Pash to bind, and the root of Pasu, Drush to see, Sarvam Visheshan Pashyati, Pashya to see. And what is it to see? An impression we took yesterday. Tamara Nalin Sundar Pad. Now the normal meaning of the word Nalin is lotus. The deeper meaning is nal inach, smell. Now nal means to control, sanghat. When the jeev comes into the body, the whole processes of the body-brain system, they act as one. There is what in the language of the Gita it is called a sanghat. There is an organic unity. So everything happens out of that organic unity. Now when the jeev leaves the body decomposes. There is a smell. So nal means to control the smell. Nalin, to control the smell. To control the disintegration. Control the disintegration of the body. So as long as there is life in the body, everything is in control. There is the controller and the energy which controls. Nal, the controller, Damyanti, Damanni Shakti, the energy which controls. Nal and Damyanti. So that inner madhyam, that inner thing which holds everything together. Jeev sharir ma hoy tyare sharir ni andar sanghat hoy છે. Everything is held together. When jeev nikli જાય એટલે એ સંઘાત તૂટી જાય છે. શરીર, the body starts smelling. એટલે નલિન, null inach, to control the smell. Similarly, the gopis are saying that when your presence is there, જ્યારે અંદર, when the observing eye is there, મારી અંદર જ્યારે હાજરી હોય છે, ત્યારે psychological દુનિયાની અંદર સંઘાત હોય છે. In our psychological space, when I am present inside, in my psychological space, there is an organic unity. Everything is controlled, in control. I cannot react because of the presence. To react, the presence has to go away. The presence has to get hypnotized. So that very presence brings about a inner organic unity, a psychological unity. It's called null, to control. So they are saying that when you are there, everything is in control. Nalina Sundar Te Pad. That controlled pad, which is very beautiful. The most beautiful thing is to be present. Can we be present? Can we hold our presence? આપણી હાજરીને આપણે રાખી શકીએ, રોકી શકીએ, એને ધારણ કરી શકીએ છીએ. So when there is no presence, the inner pranas start running amok. Then anything I can say anything to you, I can act in any way, I can have any kind of thought inside, any kind of reaction inside. Then everything is running amok inside. Then inside I may be living in a bad room, I may be living in a dark room, I may be living in the gutter. I don't know where I am inside because hajri nahi, there is no presence inside. So they are saying when the presence is inside, the inner state of being is sundar. The pad is sundar. The inner state is sundar. But when there is no presence inside, the inner state is of chaos. So te nalina sundar te padam. Sundar, to attractive, that which shines, that which is lovable. Padam, a position, a footmark, an impression. So they are saying that when you walk in the forest, when your attention goes a wandering, that pad of yours is pricked by 3. It falls down. Siddhati iti. Siddhati is paralyzed. It falls down. It gets paralyzed by 3 things. Shila, stones. Truna, grass. Shila, Truna, and Ankur. Now what are these 3? There's a beautiful Latin word which is scruple, to be scrupulous. Scruple means a stone, shila, stone. Now, all false teachings, they make rules. That do this and don't do this. Eat this and don't eat this. Behave in this way and don't behave in this way. This is all cosmetic. A real teaching will never make a rule. So we become scrupulous about the rules. And when you go into certain teachings, people become obstinate about the rules. Ke amaj thai ne, amaj nahi thai. And a real teaching is one which awakens understanding. The discipline comes from within, not by taking rules from outside. So there are 2 kinds of teachings. A real teaching and a false teaching. A false teaching is always preaching something. It is always trying to lay on some kind of behavior from outside. It's not bothered about whether you've changed from inside or not. બે જાતના ટીચિંગ્સ છે. એક જે બહારથી કંઈક થોપવામાં આવે અને એક જે અંદરની સમજણ શક્તિ જગાડે. પણ બહારથી કંઈ પણ થોપવામાં આવે કે આ કરાય અને આ ન કરાય. How do we teach our children? Do we awaken their intelligence or do we tell them that you cannot do this and you must do this? So, today on the Facebook, I just put a small thing. I said that life, you have no right to be angry on me. Who are you to be angry on me? That is life. And sadhana is, I have a right not to be angry. I have a right not to be angry. So, if the teaching is only with the outside, it cannot be a real teaching. Why can't it be a real teaching? Supposing I tell you, thou shalt not lie. And don't take the Bible, because the Bible is saying something totally different. We understand it something totally different. So we won't take that. But supposing I say, there's a rule that if you want to come in this temple, you must not lie. Is it possible? Is it possible? Why is it not possible? We've done that. Why is it not possible? Why is it not possible? Because we are not one inside. Today I'll tell you, okay, I won't lie, but by the time I've gone out of the door, the person in charge has changed. You say, forget it. Who's going to do that? So any teaching which says that do this and do that, it doesn't consider man as a crowd inside, many eyes inside. It doesn't consider the real state of man. So they don't accept the fact of what a human being is. And then they come out with all kinds of rules. You must wear these kind of clothes. You must take an oath of silence, take an oath of brahmacharya, swear that you will pray every day, you will do this every day, and it's not possible. The very basis of saying that is wrong, because you are accepting man as the one who is promising is the same person all the time. It's not possible. And that is why,
So if this is not possible, then how come those gurus of those different divisions who knows more allow that? If the internal change is all that there is, how can they then?
That is why I'm trying to tell you what is true and what is false. Yes, religion is a blank check. Anybody can write anything on it.
Isn't there a group of Hindu, the hype or the religious people that get together and monitor?
The minute you tell somebody do this, and I've been traveling for 20 years now. This constant travel. And gurus call me in their ashrams to teach. And it's a very sick state of affairs.
And how can we guide society? And how can society be responsible when the gurus themselves are not guiding correctly?
Now take one rule called brahmacharya. Now, where does our divine fragment sit? Where does the divine fragment sit? Here, in a chakra called the bindu. Now, when a person enters into sex, he is vibrating this chakra. Now, if I tell somebody, or say I have a student, and I tell him that you must practice brahmacharya, that means he's not going to be vibrating this chakra. Normal sex, I'm talking about household life, just normal household life, that he is not vibrating this chakra. If he is not vibrating this chakra, after some time, that whole area is going to degenerate. He's going to come to a state where he'll never be able to do it in this life. Unless the guru has taught him that with the brahmacharya, how to vibrate this without entering into normal household duties or whatever. Which no one has taught. Which I have not seen anywhere. They just give you a rule. Please practice brahmacharya. And it's the most stupid rule. It has no meaning at all. Because the guru doesn't know why he is giving this rule. He has got it from somewhere else. And nobody gives the scientific reason of doing it. And if you were telling a person to do it, then tell him the way to vibrate this so that it doesn't dry out. And this is happening everywhere. And there's no understanding. Why you're wearing clothes, why you're doing this, why you have to observe an oath of silence. When the inner monkey is chattering all the time, what is an oath of silence going to do? It cannot help in any way. Just by forcing the lips to be closed, what is going to happen? That is why I try to slowly put in this thing. Not that what I say is going to make any difference, but still, if someone understands that the real path is the path of understanding. And understanding is a different dimension. It has nothing to do with what we are doing outside. I could be doing anything. In the Mahabharata, there's a beautiful story of a Brahmin. And the Brahmin has done great tap. And he's acquired many powers. And he's sitting under this tree and doing his meditation. one bird, the droppings fall on the Brahmin and he gets so angry. He gets so angry, he looks at the bird and the bird burns out. So he's so happy that I have achieved this state where I look at a bird and the bird. And then he goes that afternoon for his bhiksha in the town. And he goes in the town for his bhiksha and he goes to one house and one lady, she comes. And she says, okay, I'll bring you the bhiksha. Now, the minute she goes into the house to get the bhiksha for the Brahmin, her husband comes early from where he was outside. So she first looks after her household duties, looking after her husband, giving him his food, this, that. And she forgets the Brahmin. Forgets the Brahmin. And the Brahmin is angry inside. And then she remembers that, okay, I've been serving my husband, but I forgot the Brahmin. So then she goes out with bhiksha for the Brahmin. By then he couldn't continue, so he got very angry on her. So she's saying that, see, my household duties come first. Giving you bhiksha is secondary to that. I wanted to give it to you, but my husband came first, so I had to serve him, then I'll serve you. So, and then she adds one thing, and you're throwing all this anger on me, but don't think I'm a bird which can be burnt easily. And the Brahmin was shocked. He said, the bird I burnt in the jungle. And his ego suddenly, this thing, all his powers which he had gathered, he was feeling helpless. He asked her that, tell me, you are my guru, you tell me what to do. His ego in that moment it dissolved. You tell me what to do. And the girl said, you go to this town and there is a mochi. Not a mochi, a butcher. The one who is cutting meat. The one who is cutting meat. You go to this town and make him your guru. Now, the one who is cutting meat is of the lowest caste. And for a Brahmin. And he goes there. He goes there. And he asked, this lady sent me here to get gyan from you. And this person, this butcher, he says, yes. And he tells him that, yes, it is my role in life. I am playing this role in life where I am a butcher. That has nothing to do with my inner state. And then he gives knowledge to this Brahmin. There are 4 chapters in the Mahabharata where he gives the highest knowledge to this Brahmin. So, it doesn't matter what is outside. It has no bearing at all. It does inner understanding flower. And if you take on a rule from outside, it's just an excuse not to understand. That understanding will never come. Why? The why of brahmacharya. The why of brahmacharya. The why of silence. Nobody teaches. And it's a very unscientific thing, brahmacharya. It's a very, very unscientific thing. Unless you have taught your disciple how to bypass it. So that is why I always say the real path is only the path of understanding. What is understanding? What is understanding? What is understanding? Samjhan એટલે શું? What is understanding? How does understanding come about? We know something that what is the progress from knowing to understanding? Knowing to understanding. What is the progress from knowing to understanding? જાણવું અને સમજવું એ બંને વચ્ચેનો અંતર શું?
When you see the truth when you begin to see or understand is when you understand, when you know, you know, but when you understand, there's a bit of truth that is revealed.
Right. You feel something. You feel something. You try to apply that, what has been taught to you, you try to apply it into practice. And in that there is understanding. So, supposing we say there are the path has two pathways which should run parallel to each other. Knowledge and being. What is being? What is being? Knowledge, Gyan and Hoapam. Hoapam એટલે શું? What is being? What is the difference between knowledge and being? A scientist has a lot of knowledge, but in small matters he gets irritated. So the knowledge is great, but the being is still very small. The being is still very small. So here knowledge and being, if they move together, there is understanding. Otherwise there is just intellectual understanding. There is no living understanding. Knowledge and being must move together. Right? If I say, okay, love thy neighbor as thou love thyself, love thy neighbor as thou love thyself. But I am always jealous of my neighbor. So it's very easy to get knowledge, but what about being? Am I trying to put it into practice? Then the level of being goes up. What is the relationship of being to life? Being to life. The relationship of being to life.
As the being improves, life improves.
In which way?
Because of the presence.
Does my being attract the life? What? This is very, very important. કે જે જીવન મને મળવા આવે છે, that is because of my level of being. The life which comes to meet me is attracted by my level of being. This is very important. Tomorrow I want to get so many marks in an exam. Whether I'll get it or not depends on my level of being. Level of being. So the events of life જે આવે છે, જે ઘટનાઓ આવે છે, the events of life, they have an inner attraction, and that is only my level of maru hoap, my level of being. Now if the being changes, the events change. So how do I change my being? And that can only come through understanding. Through understanding. Higher and higher levels of understanding transform everything. Higher and higher levels of understanding. So, what is coming from here is just information. It's just information. But if I start putting it into practice, then there is understanding. And in that practice, my level of being changes. My level of being changes, my life changes. We cannot change the events of life. We can only change our reactions to them. And in changing our reaction to the event, our level of being changes. Our level of being changes. So, can we interfere with this? when we detect an event, koi ghatna, an event before it happens, and change. Say typical event, I lose some money. Now, with all of us, there will be a typical reaction to the event, I lose money. There will be a typical reaction to it. Now, can I beforehand decide that when that event comes, if it comes, I will change my reaction. I will not become a part of the typical reaction. Then will I lose my money? This is very difficult to understand. Very, very difficult to understand. That event which is coming depends on my level of being. Like I was talking about that girl in Nagpur. Okay. My mother-in-law, I invited her, my level of being. If my level of being changes, then that can never happen again, in no form. So, what does it mean? An event happening to us. એક ઘટના આપણી સાથે થાય છે એનો મતલબ શું છે? We are just sidetracking. What does it mean? Supposing I fall down. The carpet no ek bhag aam hatu, like this. It was folded up and my foot came in the carpet and I fell down. Now, what does this event mean in life? What does it mean? And we came to this slope, Chalasi Yad Vrajat, Charayan Prasu, the word Chalasi, the wheel of time, the wheel of sansar. Suddenly, in that wheel, my foot got caught in the carpet, I have been caught in the wheel. My money got lost, I've been caught in the wheel. I lost my luggage, but I've been caught in the wheel. Somebody died, I've been caught in the wheel. સમજાય છે આ સંસારનો ચક્ર છે. This is the wheel of sansar. So, what is happening? Why is it happening to me and not to you? Why is it happening to me and not to you? And supposing you say, you're very happy, it is happening to me and it is not happening to you. Have we attracted the wheel of? You get it? Have we attracted that wheel? Like we go to meet somebody who's sick, कोई मांदा माणस ने મળવા જાય, and we say, अरे ये मांदो છે બરાબર છે અંદર મારે માંદગી નથી. We don't want to fall here. He's ill, it's okay. Right? So we go to see a sick person. Now, have we invited that movement of the wheel? And this is the first thought which everybody gets. At any state, you have to make an intervention. I know because I worked with AIDS patients, so I know. And when it comes to hugging them and all, it is difficult. You have to make that intervention from the beginning, inside. In hugging them, I will not have any dislike. Get what I'm trying to say? Otherwise, I am suddenly getting caught in the wheel of sansar. The wheel of sansar.
Is that person that meets you, is that a reflection of you?
Somewhere I have invited that person. My level of being.
And so it's a test of yourself.
It is not a test, it is an opportunity to change the level of being and be free of this conditioning. It is an opportunity for freedom. Now, what is the, markdowns, what is the measurement that I have been freed of this event? What is the measurement?
Inner freedom.
Yeah, but what will happen? Either the event will suck force from me, or I will take force and energy from the event. I will rise from the event. If the event has taken something from me, then I have fallen. I have been fighting some worry inside, I have been fighting some fear inside, I have been struggling inside, and in that I have lost something. But if that acceptance is there, that our ghatna can only come because of my level of being. See, that our level of consciousness is so. Gurdjieff had an accident in which he had fractures all over his body. So the doctor said we have to put it into plaster. So he's telling the doctor that, why do you want to put the plaster? So he's saying the plaster is put so that you don't move the limb. You don't move the limb. So he's saying the limb cannot move without my asking it to move. Why do you want to put the plaster? But with us, everything happens automatically. We are just caught in the wheel. He is saying here that I cannot get caught in the wheel. This wheel cannot catch me unless I want myself to get caught in the wheel. Suddenly, he is free of that. Now, some events are very, very difficult in life. We have to understand that life આપણી સાથે કંઈ પણ એને શું કહેવાય કરાર કર્યું નથી. It has not made any agreement with us to bring everything happy in our lives. People come and they tell me કે ભાઈ એવું કંઈ થઈ શકે કે મૃત્યુ વખતે કંઈ દુઃખ ના થાય. અરે they come and they ask, is it possible that we can have a painless death? Now that very powerful energy of death, it is coming, it is crashing through dimensions of time and space, and this question doesn't have any meaning at all. It tells the story of our inner state, the level of being, what we are, how poor we are in our level of being. Whatever the death, whatever pain, not painful, disease, not disease, consciousness, it is free of all this. It is that which watches all this, sees all this. It has nothing to do with whether it is a painful death or a non-painful death. On the contrary, if it is a painful death, it make the consciousness more powerful. People come with such stupid questions. They have no meaning at all. They want to walk on the path of sadhana and they come with this very fancy question, but death should be painless. The very meaning of death is that there will be some kind of pain. So it is our level of being, and what our level of being needs, life will bring it for our maturity. આપણી પરિપક્વતા માટે. What else? What else will we see in the events of life? In this chakra, what will we see? What else will we see? are we attracting the same problems every day? The same difficulties? The same situations? The same suspicions? The same quarrels? The same way of being upset? Then nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. I've been moving on the path, but unless the quality of life which I attract, unless that quality of life changes, I have not moved ahead. If it is the same circle every day. Then we will still get mad and distracted and upset and angry and bitter in the same way we do every day. And each of these events in life will take away energy, and to remain conscious we need energy. So, we have to see. So that is why today I wrote, we have a right not to be negative, not to be angry. And to assume that somebody else can promise something. I take a promise from you, you will do the exercises every day. It's stupid. How can I take a promise from you? I can't take a promise from you. Because the person who's saying it today is going to change. There's no point. I have to keep on giving it. Keep on giving it. And a point comes where there is one person inside. Now the people are not changing. This inner scenery does not change. There's one, that person can promise. So that inner observing eye, when we start our self-observation, it has to be supported every day. Otherwise, it will die away in the sea of life. Life is too powerful. Hypnosis of life is very, very powerful. Maybe I'm talking here, and I remember the first day we learned this rhythmic breathing, and my teacher had come for 3 days to Madhapur and he taught us. This was in 1988, and then I'd gone to drop him at the airport, and he was sitting there on a chair, and I was going around. The plane was delayed a little, so. And then I was practicing the rhythmic breathing like this, and he's looking at me like this. This guy is practicing, and he knows that tomorrow he's not going to practice. He knows. The eye has to change. And he knows that laughter, prahasitam. Prahasitam. That laughter. It's not good. Even I know that after saying all this, then life will come and the wave of life will just get submerged in that wave again and life will go on. Then again we have to push. Every day that inner eye, we have to push it. Push it. It's not just I start self-observation. The easiest thing is to forget. We are so caught up in life. So caught up in life. Life. And there are so many temptations in the early stages of self-observation. And the temptations come from life. They come from life. And there's an inner urge, to take part in those temptations. An inner urge. Even for so many days we may have practiced and not taken part, but one day will come and we want to give in to the temptation. Just some little matter that I feel that I'm better than him, let me just slander him a little, sage character ne niche kari naakhu. Ek maja aave andar. Anand aave. I want to give in to the temptation. Finding fault with him, we love to find fault with others. So we are going to give in. It's not something that will happen overnight. It is a long journey. We keep on forgetting. Then we'll doubt also what we are doing. I used to doubt my Guru every day. Every day I used to doubt him, whether he is right or wrong. And we wrongly interpret everything. But this is our journey to understanding, to the growth of understanding. And then if I tell you, no, you just have to do this and don't think about anything else, then it is just from outside. It has no meaning at all. It's very easy for me to say, okay, all of us from tomorrow will wear a black t-shirt with white pant and everything else I'll take care of. It doesn't work. So this Latin word, Shila Trona Ankura, this Latin word, shield, scruple, uneasiness of mind. Uneasiness of mind. What are the gopis saying? What are they saying? They are saying within us there are now two parts. There is an external part and an internal part. And that internal part, it is going away at some times. And what is it? It is falling into the mud of life because of three things: Shil, Trun and Ankur. See, even sitting here, can we see this external part and the internal part? The external part is sitting here. The internal part, is it working on what is being said? Then we are observing the two parts. There is one inner man and an outer man. The inner man is then not identified with its external forms. And understanding changes. See, first, if I put these ideas to you, you laugh at them. It is not possible. Then as our understanding changes, the whole idea changes. The level of understanding from the idea changes. So we must, every moment, what is the external reality, what is the internal reality? This we must keep on practicing. She did not look at me she did not say good morning, she forgot to wish me is an external reality. I am feeling offended inside, I am feeling jealous inside is an internal reality. Both these things must be held. She's laughing with somebody else is an external reality. I am feeling jealous inside is an internal reality. Tomorrow I am going to get a big contract is an external reality. But I am feeling desperate inside is internal reality. Each moment of life, what is the external, what is the internal? These two realities. The external man, the internal man. It is going to rain and I was going on a picnic, external reality. I am feeling depressed because picnic is cancelled, internal reality. A phone call comes from mother-in-law, external reality. I start feeling low inside, internal reality. Baby is sick, external reality. But I am worrying all the time, internal reality. I left my purse at Woolworths, external reality. But I am suffering from irritation, internal reality. Keep separating these two things. We are living in these two worlds at the same time. And we've been asleep in one world, totally asleep in one world. We don't wake up in that world. So we keep on practicing. And we keep on forgetting and we'll keep on practicing. Again we'll forget and again we'll practice. 1 year has passed, again we keep pushing. That is why we keep on having these camps. So it is renewed a little. Like people keep on practicing. And a point will come when we'll be able to hold both the realities together. We have cut the vegetable into two, fine cut. There will be an internal man and an external man. Then what will happen? There will be a struggle between the two. The external wants to do something, but the internal will say, no. At present, there is nothing like the internal. The internal is hypnotized by the external. So external says, do this, go here, do this. And everything is just an external reality, the routine of my day. Same routine of my day, and nothing changes in that. So this will only, we'll understand this if we take life and our reactions to life as two different things. If we take it as one thing, if it is just stuck together, we've not cut it into two, then it doesn't mean anything. If the raining is the cause of the depression, then it's, but if the depression is separate from the raining, it has some other source altogether, some other cause altogether than the rain outside. And if we can see that, then we can work on it. And everybody's internal reality will be different. You see, it is the same tree. All of us will look at the same tree, but a painter will see something, a carpenter will see something, everybody will see something different. The neurons in the brain are the same, the impression on the neurons is the same, but there's something which is not a part of the brain called the mind. The mind, which minds, this minding, that is consciousness, to mind. But we don't mind. And we are not born with this. It does not come free of charge. It has to be worked for. So they are saying that when you are not there, Nalin, everything goes in the wrong order unless that inner man is there, that inner person who is watching is there. Shila, Truna, Ankur. So the shield, we saw, Latin word, scrupulous. One of the things which comes from is a holier than thou attitude. And once that comes, it is very difficult. It is such a fine ego. Fine. And it is these holier than thou people who comes with all these do's and don'ts. Don't do this, do this. Now, Trun means a blade of grass. Trun also means that which is lower. That which is lower. That it is a blade of grass. It could be hidden by the stone. So you touch the stone and they are saying Krishna's feet get cut by the blade of grass. And Ankur, that which is hidden. That which is hidden. Every moment when any event happens in life, always ask the question within, what is the instrumental cause and what is the material cause? Always ask this question. Because we keep on working with the instrumental cause and we never bother about the material cause. So, the material cause is the Ankur. I lost my money is the instrumental cause. Maybe the stock market went down and I lost my money. The instrumental cause is the stock market going down. But the Ankur inside, Trila, Shila, Truna, Ankur. The Ankur inside is my greed. My greed. Right? So, what is the instrumental cause? What is the material cause? If the material cause, greed, was not lying within me, I would have never lost my money. But the material cause, greed, was lying within me from the beginning. Suddenly life will open up completely because we will see we are doing everything wrong way around. We are looking for causes where they are not there, where they are just apparently there, where only the stone is there, but the Ankur is not there. And we are hitting the stone all the time, trying to crush it into pieces, while the real cause lies somewhere else. So what would happen? It's raining, I am depressed. The real cause is the depression was lying within me. The rain was the instrument which allowed it to come out. I left my purse over there. Leaving the purse was just the instrumental cause. The irritation was already lying within me. The material cause, the instrumental cause. In everything in life. In everything. Mother-in-law is like this, instrumental cause. But irritation, anger was already within me. And if the mother-in-law becomes the instrument for the irritation to come out, start working on it. No, we won't get a better opportunity. She's not going to be there forever. Of course, I know you don't want her to. Opportunity. An opportunity to get rid of unwanted material. All this material is lying within us. So they are saying, okay, when you are walking in Vraja, we are frightened that your beautiful feet will be hurt by three things: Shil, Truna, Ankur. That inner presence, the inner man, Siddhati Iti, it falls down. The inner presence goes back into the hypnosis of life because of these three things. My scruples, the stone, the grass which cuts, and the unseen desire which is lying below the soil. These three. And they are saying when that happens, Naha mana kaliltam gacchati. Amaru man kalilta jai છે. The word kalil means defiled. Our mind becomes defiled. Why? Because there is no presence inside. There is no presence inside. So that because of that presence there was a sanghat, there was an organic unity. Suddenly that organic unity is broken. Everything inside the psychic nature starts smelling and we go into a state of, a lower state of a mixed state of contamination, kalilta. Say, na man kaliltam gacchati. After all our efforts, they are saying, कि फरीथी, once again the hypnosis of life has caught us. And this keeps on happening. Farithi mane jivan no moh pakdi lido. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. This is the way it is going to go. Now another meaning of the word ankur is ank, to leave a mark, to leave a mark. So every time I react, it always leaves a mark. And what does that mark do? Try to just see what we've been through this before. What does that mark do? See, I react, the neurons are firing in a certain way in the brain and it makes that road it increases the groove of that road, that pathway in the brain. It is going to make me react more. They are saying we are going into moha. Amaru man kalilta maja. Our minds are going into more and more deeper hypnosis. Our minds are being defiled. And the gopis are, they are also, playing on the word over here. Okay. Usually we don't go into Kalilta, it is only when your feet are hurt we go into Kalilta. हमने कलिलता નથી થાતું પણ તમારા પગને કંઈક થાય છે તો અમને કલિલતા થાય છે. justification. Justification. And one of the justifications we do is, I'm feeling pain. No, I'm not, but I'm feeling because of you. I'm feeling here, the gopis are saying, we don't feel pain, but because this is happening to you, we are feeling pain. We are feeling pain. It's a reflex action. So their consciousness, which was present over there, which was an organic unity, which was watching the actions of the psychological structure, the psychic nature, it suddenly went through three things. Shila, it got hurt. Truna, it got cut. And Ankur, a mark remained, and that mark becomes a seed for future repetition. Future repetition. In this manner, our minds are becoming defiled. We are going into deeper and deeper hypnosis. So please again come back. Please show your face. You have gone away. If you come back, then everything in our life comes into order again. And that coming back is the inner presence they are talking about. So I'll finish this talk, but you still have 15 minutes. So if you want to ask a few questions. I won't take a new slope today.
Rajan, what if you're in a situation you say not to react and an event happens and you almost become a victim of that event? At what stage do you actually do something to protect yourself or not just...
See, even in small things, what I usually do, what I've been practicing through years, I'll just tell you, is that suddenly there's an urge to tell you something. Right? Now, I know that if I tell it now, it is loss of consciousness. Right? I've just been hypnotized by something in life, and I want to tell you this, that this is your fault, you please do this. Right? And so then I pause over there. I say, I'm going to say it, but I'll say it after a few minutes. Now, after a few minutes, the whole thing may change. The whole inner state may also change. And after a few minutes, if I feel there is still a necessity of saying that, then I'll take out all the aggressiveness from it and say it just matter of fact. So, we can always say some things matter of fact. I don't have to tell you, if you don't do this, I'm going to get angry. I say, you can do this. So I just have to say some things matter of fact. And in that matter of fact, the ego needs aggressiveness. Where there is no aggressiveness, there can be no ego. This is the quality of the ego. The ego needs aggressiveness. Agra vagar aham na hoy sakta. You get what I'm trying to say? Aggressiveness and the ego go together. So just now, when I want to tell it to you, there is aggressiveness. So I know that it is going to come out of reaction. So now I pause. Can I say the same thing in some other way? Is there a different way of saying it? Is it necessary to say it? So after 5 minutes, life will give me an indication that it is necessary to say it. Unless it's an emergency. Always find a roundabout way. Don't say it at that time. Wait for something. Second thing, never become a victim of memory. Memory is the biggest bondage. And something I say, it falls on some association. Something comes from your memory and you tell it out to me. And we are always speaking from memory. So make this thing that I'll try to avoid speaking from memory. Right? Supposing you say, Keba, I'm not feeling well. Right? You've got a stomach problem. So I'll say, okay, drinking lemon juice. From memory it comes drinking lemon juice. I'll pause over there. pause over there. And after a I can even wait for a few seconds also and bring the lemon juice. But I don't say it with that reaction, that aggressiveness. I let the aggressiveness die down and then I say it out of something else. Wherever there is aggressiveness, there is always ego. This is one thing. If we can work on just our aggressiveness, Agra, Bhishma, my pratigya, aggressiveness, that is the basic quality of the ego. And aggressiveness, when it takes the garb of religion, it's deadly, that aggressiveness. When the gurus get aggressive, they've lost everything. I don't know if I've answered your question. So always pause and see if there's another way of doing it. And most likely there is. More often than not, there is another way of doing it. A better way of doing it. And that allows for consciousness.
Can you share some thoughts on Garb Sanskar or the soul Sanskars in our life? Any highlights? It's a very big topic.
See, I don't know anything about the Garba Sanskar. For that you'll have to ask Guruji. Guruji is not a big expert, he only one child. Unless he's planning something. See, parenting starts 1 year before we have a child. We become parents. So, what is the 1 year before the thought should change? You see, because we are newly married, there's attraction. So, the idea behind sex is excitement. You get it? The husband and wife are meeting in sex through excitement. So now they are saying that we want to become a parent. So we will now enter into sex only for the child, for this period. For this period, because we don't want to have a child out of excitement. Now, I don't know whether this comes in your Garba Sanskar or not. You get what I'm trying to say?
Garba Sanskar after established Garba.
After. So we have to go 1 year before, right?
When once established Garba, then we have to do this.
Anyway, I do it 1 year before. 1 year before. 1 year before. The thought should change. That affects the child which is going to come. We don't want the child through an accident by radio. So 1 year before, if the thoughts change, then you see, because parents come, they say, "Maro dikro manto nathi, aam chhe the," he's not listening to me, he's not studying, he's not doing this. But what did you do? How did you call him? How did you call him? Did you call him through excitement? So the very first step was only wrong. The first step was only wrong. Second thing is, the sex energy has 3 stages. The lowest stage is called as Shukra, the physical sex energy. Shukra. The psychic counterpart of Shukra is called as Virya. Virya. And the spiritual counterpart of the sex energy is called as Ojas. These are 3 levels of sex energy: Shukra, Virya, Ojas. 3 levels. So now before the mother and father, they want to enter into sex for the child, they want the ojas component to become powerful. So they enter into a period of brahmacharya, that they abstain. Right? They abstain. Science may say that you get a wet dream or something of that sort. It has no meaning. No meaning. The very thought of abstaining increases the light of the sex energy, the ojas component. So they abstain for 3 months. Right? So the magnetism of the sex energy, the magnetic field of the sperm and the ovum change in that 3 months. Then, in those 3 months, there must be a gratitude that we are going to invite a child, so there is an inner gratitude. Something from the higher is going to come to take birth through us. So to express that gratitude, there were different trees, and one of the trees was the umra, country fig. Now, that's a tree which has a certain kind of astral body. Now, it's very difficult for science to understand that trees have different. You've heard of Lukman, no? Lukman was a very famous Arabian doctor in those days, Hakim. And somebody told Lukman that you're a great doctor here in Arabia, but in India also there are great rishis who are great Vaids in India. So he said, okay, let me find out if there are good Vaids in India, let me find out. So he sends one of his disciples to India. And he tells him that you have to do only one thing every night when you go to sleep, sleep under a bubble tree. Bubble tree. Now, bubble tree, it sucks prana from the body. If you sleep under a bubble tree, it sucks prana from the body. So, this person, by the time he reached India, in those days he must have been traveling for months from Arabia to reach India, and every night sleeping, his guru has told him, you sleep under a bubble tree. By the time he reached India, he was so sick, he could hardly stand. And then he must have reached some place in Kashmir or somebody, and he saw one group of disciples sitting with one guru, so he went there, and the guru said, how have you come into this condition? Why is your plight like this? So he says, I don't know, but my guru told me to go and find out if in India there are great doctors, Vaids or not. And he told me to sleep every night under a bubble tree. So that person understood. He said, you go back, but every night you sleep under a neem tree. And this Lukman, this very famous Hakim, he's sitting there one day with his disciples, and he sees this disciple coming in the distance, and he says, in India there are great Vaids. Because his disciple has come back alive. His disciple has come back alive. He didn't need him to tell. So certain trees have certain psychic structure with them, certain powers with them. It is not just the physical, cellular, what you experiment with in the laboratory, analyze in the laboratory. And one of these trees is the umbra. So we express our gratitude under an umbra tree, a country fig tree. So the couple will sit on a Sunday morning under an umbra tree, and they will say, we want to give birth to a good soul. We want a good soul to come through us. They will talk to the tree. Not in loud words, but they will talk to the tree. And then they will meditate on the tree. That through you will help us. You will invite some good soul through us. And something will fall from the tree. That is, the tree has accepted. a leaf or something, and they will drink that in milk. And then they will decide which Thursday they want to start a meeting for a child. Right? Now, in astrology, Guru, Thursday, Guruvar, Thursday. Guru is Putra Karak. Putra and Putri both, Putra Karak. Right? It is the Karak vibrations which give rise to delivery. The vibrations. Don't take it as some god sitting there with a stick or something. Right? So Guru is Putra Karak. And on Thursday, the first hour after sunrise is called Guru Kal. The first hour after sunrise. So in the old days, the people who were practicing this in the Rishi period, they would see, oh, the sun is rising, now is the time to meet. So the couple meet not for excitement, but to have a child. To have a child. They meet only to have a child. Both of them have it in their this thing that we are not meeting for excitement, we are meeting to have a child. That sankalp is there. It is Thursday morning, it is Guru Kal, and at that time they meet. Then the next meeting is next Thursday. Nothing in between. Next Thursday. The Thursday after that. Till the woman becomes pregnant. If it is possible, they continue till the 4th month, Thursday to Thursday, because there are some things in the male sperm which the astral body of the child needs. So even, you get what I'm trying to say. So they continue Thursday to Thursday till the 4th month. After the 4th month they stop. But some women, the minute she conceives, she gets nausea, she even hears the word sex. So then they can't continue. They can't continue. Right? So this is my Garbha Sanskar. I don't know about what Garbha Sanskar you are talking about, but this is the way I have been given by my Guru, and which I pass on to everyone. This is Garbha Sanskar. And that child will be of a different quality. He will come with some essence, and that essence at a certain point in life will say, I want my freedom, walk on a different path. Have I answered your question?
Yeah, actually it was a little extended. Once you've conceived, then what happens with the sanskar?
Once you have conceived, like I said, up to the 4th month, if you can continue, very good. If you can't, it does not matter. Now, what I was taught is that to put the hand on the wife's stomach and to recite Gayatri. So the vibrations of Gayatri through the hand go into the womb of the mother. Right? And what impressions is the woman taking in those 9 months? Right? If she's seeing only murder mysteries, or if she's seeing those lovesick, what in the old days they used to do Mills and Moon, I don't know what it is. Nancy something. Nancy, the latest is what? Nancy, what's her name? Nancy Drew. Nancy.
Mills and Boone, yeah. It's still Mills and Boone.
So what she's reading in those 9 months, what movies she's seeing in those 9 months. It's very important what kind of impressions, because that child which is coming in, he has not yet got a thinking center or a emotional center, but he has a the instinctive center is already there, and the instinctive center is recording. It is recording. So what impressions are we giving that child? Those impressions are very, very important. The best ones are music. Best ones are music. The most natural music is flute, because when in a bamboo the ants ate the bamboo and the wind blew through those holes in the bamboo, the music which was created was flute. So it is the most natural music, is flute. So, in those 9 months, what impressions is the taking? Second thing is, she must not be frightened of any impressions. The richer the impressions, also the better. She looks after what she is reading, what she is seeing on TV, what music she is hearing, but that does not mean she does not meet people. You meet everyone, because that child wants as many rich impressions as possible. Many people after the child, don't give it in this one hand. It's all nonsense. The more hands which it goes to, the richer the child becomes. But so no, I know I've seen places where the wife will not give it to the mother-in-law also. The child to the mother-in-law also. Rich impressions. As many. That is why the first birthday of a child should be really celebrated. As many people as possible. Because he passes through so many hands. And in passing through so many hands, a rich diversity of impressions come in. I've taken a long time answering your short question. But thank you.
Just a question on yesterday's lecture on associations. Are we born with it, or do we develop it afterwards? And how do we get rid of it once it's within us?
The tendencies we are born with it, but we form the associations after. Around 4 years, 5 years, the associations are formed. But the tendency towards this association comes with birth. But that does not mean we will form that. It could be changed. That depends on how aware the mother and father are. They see what tendencies the child has come with, and they just regulate. They don't force. They just regulate. Like if there's anger, then they start giving him exercises to get rid of the anger. Like you throw this stone, how far can you throw? How far? So now you throw it 10 times, there's no anger left. So that's channelized. You see? So the mother and father know what kind of tendencies the child has come with, and they try to channelize them. Again, when the child is in the cradle, Gaudiya, what kind of impressions are we giving is very important. Secondly, now I see nobody ties the child. Now the child must be tied for 8 to 9 months. Otherwise, this monkey is going to chatter over time. The astral body has to be fixed with the physical body. And that is why we wrap the child, not tie. The real word is not tie, but wrap the child up. We wrap it up so the astral remains there. The astral does not become agitated. Nowadays they don't wrap the child. The doctors they can't see any astral, so for them it doesn't make any difference. But a person who can see the astral, the child must be wrapped up for at least as long as possible. Because nowadays children are too intelligent, so they take off their thing, right? But 3 months, 4 months, so that some kind of inner agitation is calmed down. All this is important.
I have a curiosity. You speak frequently about the guru and the disciple. You yourself have had several gurus.
Right.
I'm asking a question based on linear time. Was there ever a period when your gurus, you had more than one guru simultaneously? Is it possible to have more than one guru at any one time?
Why not? Why not? Why not? It is a certain period. I know when my teacher for he had given us a 2-year period where we were not allowed to read anyone else's books. He listened to anyone else's talks. Not to read any other books also. We had to just do the practices. So that was a 2-year period. It was a sabbatical. Okay? So 2-year period. And he had a purpose behind that we become grounded in something. Once you're grounded in something, then everyone is the guru. Today, it's not that just because of my guru has written 2 books or 3 books that I only refer to those books. Truth is a massive canvas. Every guru comes and throws a little bit of color in the canvas. But that does not mean he owns the canvas. Everybody comes and throws their color, and that is the richness of truth. So nobody has truth doesn't have a trademark on truth. But there can be a sabbatical period for the disciple, where the guru says, in this period you are not allowed to go to any other guru, listen to anybody else, read any other book. And we went through that for 2 years. Right? And it is through that we become more broad-minded. We are able to accept everything because you get a glimpse of something in that. In that intensity you get a glimpse. And suddenly you see that glimpse is everywhere. Nobody has a hold on that glimpse. It is everywhere. That truth is everywhere. So you can. But how grounded are we? Where is our center of gravity? If our attention is just fragmented, thoda ye kiya, thoda wo kiya, then it doesn't mean anything. Main chala to khub, pahuncha kahin bhi nahi. People come to me and they say, I have done Reiki, I have done this, I have done that, I have done Vipassana, I have done this. I know they've done nothing. They've done nothing. There's no grounding. The monkey is chattering just as before. And the problem with Vipassana, you rape the monkey for 10 days in a camp, and after 10 days it chatters double. Monkey has been chattering for thousands of years. You can't force him to remain quiet by sitting 10 hours in meditation. It's a very, very unscientific way of doing things. I think we'll stop now. Huh?